backs and tell the people just how good they are. I don't think people realize where
Yeah.
this group ranks. You lose Trey Benson, and it's hard to kind of separate, wanting to say how good he is. And, if you talk about the things he wasn't great at, it sounds like you're talking crap about him. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah. Right.
It's just the ceiling of this group is something different.
Yeah, I don't think when you compare players, it has to mean that somebody was bad for someone to be good. And, just a real quick on that offensive line, like when you're bringing in guys from Alabama that aren't starting, when you got a guy like Julian Armella, and I think he's banged up, that's why he's not on the depth chart. How many years ago would he have started as a true freshman for us? And now it's year 3 and he's still not cracking the 2 deep. So, like, that speaks to the talent level they got up front. And it really, I think, with the running backs, yes, you lose Trey Benson, who was definitely a home run hitter for you, right? But I think what's interesting about this running back room that we talked about in a running back preview was you don't have that guy, right? That quote unquote guy, like a Dalvin Cook, a Cam Akers, a guy that's been the lead back wherever they've been at. But you also don't have anyone that you don't feel really good about, that you don't see having a breakout season. I mean, Roydell Williams is obviously comes over from Alabama, put up 560 yards in the SEC as the number 2 back at Bama. I mean, that's, he started the SEC championship for them, put up 65 yards and a touchdown against Georgia. That's pretty good there. He ate against South Florida, 129 yards. That was a top 50 run defense. I know it's South Florida. But then Toa Philly. I mean, this is a guy that's played over 1,000 snaps at Florida State. I think he's always been that flashback that has kind of been a little inconsistent, but it's his year to step into that role. And I think he's ready for that. But I also think, like, the depth and the diversity of skill sets in this room is what gets me excited. When you start talking about Jalen Lucas, Cam Davis, Mekhi Danzy even. I mean, you got so many guys. Like, I think the biggest problem with this running back room is how are you going to feed them all? That's a problem I'm glad I don't have, because I think there are so many talented backs in this room that have such a diverse set of skill sets that I think we're going to see 2-back sets come back. I think we're going to be running the ball a lot. And I think you got a really good group of backs you have power backs, you have scat backs, you have receiving backs, all these guys that can get the job done, man. This is probably the room I'm the most excited about.
Yeah, no doubt. David Hale had us as the number 1 running back room in the ACC, and I agree with him. Yeah, we don't have that Dalvin Cook dude who's coming off a 1,000-yard season, but you mentioned it. What Roydell's done, what Toa Philly's done, starting at that tailback position the last couple years. Roydell has an interesting mix of kind of what Trayshawn Ward is so great at, and his time at Florida State, and what Trey Benson was so great at.
Yep.
He's got an ability to be patient, really read blocks, but he can also kick it into that top gear. Maybe not quite as fast as Trey Benson, but he's finishing those runs that Trayshawn Ward is getting caught on. And he also has something that I haven't seen out of any Florida State back since Cam Akers. There's this thing with these running backs with balance where you can grab one ankle and hold it, and they just keep running with one leg. And then when they get it free, they keep going. It's the damnedest thing. I've tried to explain it a million different ways, but it's like they can just phase through tangled up legs and stuff. He does these little skips to get through the A gap and the B gap. And I think Roydell Williams, he is going to explode. I wouldn't doubt it if he had 1,000 yards, even with how spread out these carries are. But yeah, if he doesn't, that's why it's not a lack of talent, and it goes deep. You hear about Sam Singleton, who's in the tailback side of things, more of a Lawrence Toafili type of guy, but he's just knocking dudes out at practice, running guys over on the goal line, breaking tackles. He had Adam Fuller ready to just like bite somebody's head off one day because he made the defense look so bad. Running back's going to be a lot of fun.
He's probably the most underrated guy in the room, I think. And if that's a consensus 4-star coming in with a year of practice under his belt and a little bit of game experience, if that's your most underrated guy, man, we're in a good position.
Facts. And we haven't even got to Cam Davis. Cam Davis shows up on campus looking like a 3rd-year NFL player. A lot of folks that you talk to will say he's like the most athletic, probably the most gifted guy on the team already. He's made the depth chart. In that running back position behind Keziah Holmes as the 3rd running back. Definitely we'll see some out of him, and wouldn't be surprised to see him get 200 or 300 carries towards the end of the year by the time it's all said and done with, because he's a freak. The clips you've seen